So let me Reese's Puffs, Reese's Puffs. Eat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up. Reese's Puffs, Reese's Puffs. Eat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up.
Hello guys, and welcome back to From the Deck. Today we're going to give a look back at Burn Abyss. Yes, you know, this is the only deck that I know to play apparently. And as such, I think that this deck has a lot of potential, this format, to do things that you wouldn't usually do under any other formats. Let's just begin right with the profile. We're going to start with our monster lineup. Obviously, you know the ratios at this point. I only made one adjustment. Okay, now that it is arranged in order, because I apparently forgot that I was playtesting this, let's start with our monster lineup. We're going to begin with 3 copies of Graph. The ratios are pretty standard. As I said, I would only change 2 things: 2 Seer, 2 Skarm, 2 Leverage. Very important because all of these monsters burn themselves if there is a non-BA on the field. And for the ones, 1 Barbar, 1 Calcap, and 1 Farfa. I could do the second Farfa because I think on this version of the list I'd rather keep just 1 Farfa. I find more utility in 1 than in 2. And in general, as I playtest this, I think this is the correct ratio for this version that I'm running, because I am running instead 45 cards instead of the regular 40. So yeah, 3 Tour Guide. As I said, on this version you want to open the 1 card combos. Basically, Tour Guide is basically that. People play it as 2 because it's better as a follow-up than as a starter, because it dies to like 7 cards in the game right now. But it is completely fine in this version. Triple Finish Rhino Warrior as well, because of course you will play Triple Finish Rhino Warrior. As extenders, 1 Wheeler, 2 Trackers. It can be any number of these. I'm sorry I'm proxying this, I don't have it yet. If you wanted to see the full monster, you go cry about it. Wheeler and Tracker are pretty common in PK builds because they can special summon themselves with a level 3 monster on the field. So if your 2 guys get together, Tracker and Wheeler gives you at least an Nexus or a play. Next up, triple Orbital HYDRALANDER, 1 Fairy Tail Snow, and 1 Backjack. These are the things that make this deck better, actually, than it was from the last format, in my opinion. Being capable of doing something without accessing your extra deck is very important because of side lock. And HYDRALANDER can achieve a little bit of this combined with Fairy Tail Snow. You just have to be a little bit more creative than usual when that happens. This is a mix between Trap BA and Orbital BA, which is a combo version of this deck. And I think Snow is perfect because 90% of the traps don't do anything in the graveyard anyways, so playing HYDRALANDER with Snow on the trap version is completely fine. For spell lineup, I only have 3 spells, the 1 Foolish Burial and the 2 Italy. I don't run 3 to 3 ratio, 3 garnets by 3 extenders, if you want to put it like that. I rather play only the 2 extenders that are not the garnets themselves and the 3 monsters. This gives you a total of 5 cards that basically let you special summon something to make your tour guide better if it gets Imperm, Bailer, whatever. So I think that is perfectly reasonable. For traps, triple Torrential Tribute, triple Dynamiscus, triple Fin Griffin, triple IDP, 2 Trap Trick, and 2 Deep Prison are probably Deep Prison or Deep Barrier are probably the best lineup that you could get on this version. Imperm is okay on this, Lost Wind again is also okay, but I think this is a bit better considering that special summoning things from your opponent's graveyard like a Golden Lord or a Scythe or whatever are pretty much better than just negating an effect that can be avoidable because DP is in the format. Deep Barrier is great going first because it lets you block from the Synchros against Sorcerer or from DP in DP Turbo decks, and in general I think it's a very good card. I could consider running it at 3, but honestly at 2 at this moment seems working perfectly fine. And with Backjack on the deck, you can search it pretty much in any given point. Extra deck, very normal. 2 Dantes, 1 Breaksword, 1 Beatrice, the 1 downer, and double sus. Now, these pretty common ratios except for the break, so you would usually run Fortune Tune, but I found out that break sword is better like 90% of the times, whereas Fortune Tune is unaffected and can beat on defense position monsters. Usually on this deck you don't find that scenario that often. You often find yourself having to hit an attack position monster, and Breaksword is the best monster to summon that doesn't have to activate an effect to gain attack and hit over something usually. And also the niche interaction between Breaksword linked to Cherubini to pop something and then Breaksword not destroying itself is perfectly fine. Fusion, one only Dante, of course, the target for Beatrice, and 4 links, the Cherubini, the IP Masquerena, the Nightmare Unicorn, the Topologic Trisbania, the Appaloosa, the Access Code, and the World Sword Dragon. Honestly, the extra deck is a little bit tight sometimes. I want to play Dark because Dark seems really good on this format, but unfortunately I don't own it, and even if I own it, I don't know what I would could probably the Appaloosa, but I don't know. Appaloosa is a little bit more incidental than your general play, so you will probably could the Appaloosa, but in general you play it because you can link off Beatrice, the IP Masquerena, and Snow for it. You can also play Underworld Goddess and link off one of your monsters with the same lineup to ensure that you remove threats from your opponent's field. For the side deck, as you saw, 2 Lava Golem. You don't really need your normal summon going second, so if you see Lava Golem, it's perfectly fine. The Kaiju, in this case I'm playing the Thunder King. You can play GMCL or whatever. I just like Thunder King, and that's the only reason why I'm playing it. Triple Dark Ruler no more. The Harpies Feather Duster, the 2 Twin Twisters, and the 2 Evenly Matched. Basically any way to wipe your opponent's board, that's what you play on the side deck. You could consider playing Lightning Storm. With this lineup you will probably cut the 2 Twin Twisters for Lightning Storm, and you will be perfectly fine. You could also run Raigeki, Dark Hole, whatever you want depending on your format. On my format I usually find back row decks more than Monster Negate decks, so I run a little bit more of a mix between one and the other, so I am prepared for everything. And finally, for going first, the Anti-Spell Fragrances. Because Imperial Order got banned, because most people are some bitches that don't like to play against IO, Anti-Spell is the best thing that you can run to ensure a win against things like Sky Striker or Pendulum or whatever you face that has a lot of spells on their lineup. This is the Burning Beast deck profile that I would run for this meta, for this moment right now. This format seems a bit dull because of course there's a lot of issues with this format, but I think this deck can manage it through well, and you could even play something like Skill Drain and that wouldn't affect you that much, because Skill Drain is a card that you can banish with Snow on your own turn to turn it off. So it is actually a very amazing card to run if you manage to get 3 and put it in the main deck. I don't run it because 1, I don't have it, and 2, I'm playing Backjack. If that was the case, I would cut Backjack and a couple more things to put the Skill Drains and the Anti-Spell Fragrances on main. So that would be everything from me, guys. Thank you very much for coming in today. I will see you on the next one. See ya!